Hi, my name is Laura. Today we're going to be going over how to set up your hamster cage. If you're a new-time hamster owner, when you hear hamster cage, you might be thinking of something like these cages. While these are traditional hamster cages, many people today would consider cages this size to be much too small. While American Humane Societies do not have any particular dimensions that they recommend you to house your hamster in, they do recommend you go for a housing unit that is as large as you possibly can get your hands on. Longtime hamster owners recommend that people go for a minimum continuous floor space for the hamster of 450 square inches. On the screen now is the Preview 528 hamster cage. This is one of the best purchasable cage options that meet hamster space requirements. However, if you're on a budget, the cheaper option will be to make your own bin cage. This is going to be an educational video on proper hamster housing, and is going to be useful for people who are new-time hamster owners or are wondering what materials they are going to need for their hamster. In this video, we're going to be going over the materials you need, where you should place your hamster cage, and how to set up your hamster cage to make the perfect home for your hamster. So, let's get started. So, as you can see, we have a lot of materials we're going to need. While we will not be using all of these things today, this is to give you a full idea of materials that you can purchase for your hamster cage. So, number one, you're going to be needing your bin cage. My bin cage today that I'm going to be using is a little over 800 square inches. The second thing you are going to need is your hamster bedding. Always be sure to avoid cedar, pine, and scented beddings. Today for our cage, we will be using aspen wood bedding along with brown and white paper bedding. The third thing you'll need is your hamster food and your hamster food bowl. Also, you'll be needing a water bottle. You can also alternatively use a water dish, which is what we will be using today. Then we have our wheels. So you want to make sure you have a wheel that is large enough that your hamster's spine is not bending at all while they are running in it. This is a 12-inch wheel, while this is a 7-inch wheel. This is going to be better for your Syrian hamsters, and this will be better for your dwarf hamsters. The sixth thing you'll need is hideouts. Hamsters like a variety of different areas that they can go and hide in. This is the Niteangel multi-room hideout, which we will be using as the main hideout in our cage today. The seventh thing you'll need is hamster toys and hamster chews. You want to make sure that your hamster is entertained, so you want to have a variety of things that they can interact with inside of their cage. I will have all of the hideouts and toys used today linked in the description below. Step 2 is going to be cage placement. That is, where are you going to be putting your hamster in your house? So you want to make sure your cage is not in a place where you're going to need to move it around constantly. That can be very stressful for your hamster. You want to make sure that your hamster is getting sunlight, not direct sunlight, because that could cause the cage to warm up too much. You want to make sure that they're getting indirect sunlight, because hamsters have a biological clock, just like us. When it's light out, it tells them that they need to be sleeping, and when it gets darker, they know they need to wake up, start foraging, running around on their wheel. You want to make sure that the temperature in the room they're staying is between 65 and 75. Anything outside of that range could cause stress, cause them to get sick, and we wouldn't want that for our hamsters. You want to make sure that there is no direct air blowing on them from vents or just be it from drafts in the room. And especially, you want to make sure it's a nice and quiet place during the daytime. Your hamster needs to sleep all day long, so you want to make sure they're not constantly getting disturbed, which could again cause them a lot of stress. So now we're going to get on to how to set up your cage. So the first thing you're going to want to do is add a nice thin layer of aspen bedding along the bottom of your cage. So next we're going to place the main shelving unit. This is a really nice hiding area for your hamster. There's lots of different rooms they can choose to nest in, and we're going to set this so it has this nice edge here where the hamster can also run. Now we're going to lift the lid off of the housing unit. So we're going to be putting some softer bedding, the paper bedding, inside of here so that they can make nice little burrows within. As you can see, I filled each chamber about halfway with the paper bedding. Now on the other side of the cage, we're going to be filling bedding up to the lid of where the main shelving unit is. Halfway along, we're going to leave this lower part in front of the shelving unit bare and open. So now we are going to be adding in our wheel. I'm using a 12-inch wheel since I am currently housing a Syrian. So I'm going to put that right on top of the shelving unit So it's nice and stable. It's not going to fall over as it might if it's in the higher bedding area. So now we're going to be putting in some additional hideouts and some toys for our hamster. So when we put them in there, they have a whole lot to do and explore. And this is where you can get creative. Feel free to move your toys and hideouts wherever you think looks best for your cage. So now we have all of our toys and hideouts set. We're just going to add our food bowl and our water bowl. Again, for water, you can also use a water bottle, and you can adhere it to the side with industrial strength Velcro. So we're just going to place these. Now we're just going to scatter some treats around so we can explore and try and find something nice and tasty to snack on. And now we'll add food and water into the bowls. Now I'm also scattering some food around the cage to encourage foraging. And in fact, you'll notice that I put the water bowl, the wheel, and the food all in different corners of the cage. This encourages the hamster to move around the entirety of the cage, not just stick to one corner. So now on to our final step, which is adding our hamster to our amazing cage we just put together. I currently have my hamster right here. He's sleeping inside of his little coconut, so I'm going to just transfer that quietly into here. He actually is awake right now. Looks like he's ready to come and check out all the new treats around his cage. And here we have the final product of our cage setup. So there you go. That's how you set up a hamster cage. I hope the tips I gave you were helpful in this video. And if you have any other questions, leave them in the comments below. I'd be happy to answer them.